Okay, Erev Lag Ba'omer. So we're holding up with Ches, Chaved Rashbi, Chai, Iyar. But before we continue Daf with Ches, last Shiur, you mentioned there's an interesting Tosfos that this Tosfos has an agah, a addendum to it, and this does not appear. According to my research, it does not appear many times in Shas. It appears in Rosh Hashana 3 times. This Hagah is interesting and it's really important somewhat to learn, because we say every day that we say Tachanun, we say Hashem Hashem Kelachum V'Chanun Erech Apayim, and the Gemarrah says here that the Eibusha told Moshe that anytime Yidden are in a tzala, they're in a pickle, and something bad is going to happen, it's happening, say Hashem Hashem Kelachum V'Chanun Erech Apayim, yeah, V'nakei, and you'll be saved. That's what it says. Every time the Yidden sin, do say this, say Hashem Hashem, v'ani moichlem, I forgive them. That's what the Gemara says in Nafid Zayin. So the Shonim, we mentioned this last week, the Shonim have a little bit of an argument. How do you count the 13 shloishes middos, the 13 attributes? How do you count them? Tosfos brings one way, and there's in Megillas Rabbeinu Nissim brings another. In Megillas Psalm of Rabbeinu Nissim brings a different way. The Hagah explains what is Hashem Hashem Kelachim. What exactly are we saying? So let's go. It's not a long. It's a long in words, but it's not a very long. Lach is a psikta. So the Hagah, Dafid Zayin Amud Beis is the small lettering. The Hagah, Dafid Zayin Amud Beis. Hach is the psikta. This is what's written in psikta. Psikta is a medrash. It says in Pasuk, one of the haftarahs of the Shiva and Nechemta, after Tisha B'Av, 7 weeks, you say a bunch of haftarahs about Nechama. So one of the haftarahs is, V'toim Atzion Azavani Hashem, Hashem Shechani. The Pasuk says, Tzion, the Yidden say, that the Eibusha left us, V'Hashem Shechani. Yeah? There's a famous Valt brought down that the first haftarah after Tisha B'Av is Nachamu. Yeah? So, what does it say there? Nachamu, Nachamu Ami, Omar Lekechem. The Navi tells the Yidden, be consoled, Nachamu, Nachamu. Basically, the Eibusha destroyed the Beis HaMikdash, and then send a messenger to tell the Yidden, okay, Nachama, Nachama. So the next week, V'toim Atzion comes after V'toim Atzion, the Yidden say, the Eibusha forgot about us. You destroyed the Beis HaMikdash, and you send a messenger. We want the Eibusha himself. And that's what later on it says, and next after the Eibusha himself comes. But anyways, V'toim Atzion Azvan Hashem Hashem Shechani. Tzia and the Yidden say that the Eibusha forgot about us. He left us. He abandoned us. Hashem Shechon and Eibusha forgot about us. So it says Hashem Oisan Shtei Middos. These are 2 separate attributes. Azovani, these 2 middos, Hashem, the Eibusha left us. Okay, this is how he starts in the Psikta. But the Hagah, which I looked up and I saw somewhere, this Hagah was written by Elisha of the later Rishonim in the 13th century. Rabbi Yehuda ben Rabbi Lezer or something. I think he lived in France, if I remember correct. But it was written by a later Rishonim, and it's brought down on the Pasuk and Chumash. And this is like almost a copy from that Rishonim in the Chumash. So what does it say there? It's difficult. Kivanish name Shalachim Hashem. Hashem are both Rachmanas. That's what it says. Hashem is Rachmanas middos Rachamim, the middah of mercy. So why are we mentioning the same middah of mercy of Rachmanas twice? Ein kan shtei middos. It's not 2 middos. It's 1 middah. It's Rachmanas. L'kach nira. So that Hagah says shen middah achas. Hashem is 1 middah. So why are we saying Hashem twice? Hashem. Ve'echad mehem Shem HaTorah. One of them is to call out Hashem. You're turning to Hashem and calling Him. So the first thing you say Hashem. Shem HaTorah. Shekach maskirin oisal adoi nusay. That's how you call the Eibusha. That's how you mention the Eibusha. The fact that he was Adon. He's a master. If Yeshua Adon al koil, because the Eibusha is master above everyone. You call a king because he is a king on a kingdom. So the same thing also is called Hashem Adon, because he is an Adon. He is a master on all the. And now that you called out the Eibusha, now you start Hashem, which now means the second one means middos Rachamim. And now Hashem is called Rachamim. So that's number 1. Lefi shehu Adon. So what's the connection between the word Adon and Rachamim? Because the Eibusha is an Adon, is a master, al koil. Therefore, the Eibishter, as a true master, he has to behave himself in the middle of Rachmanas because he's Adon Koil, he's the master of everyone. So as a true master, you show your mercy. So that's the connection with the name Yud-Ke Vav-Ke, Adoi, the way we say it now, Adoi, and with Lachem with Rachmanas. Keil, so it says Hashem, Hashem, Keil, Rachem.
Hashem, Hashem. The first one is you're going to the master.
Yeah.
Then you say, now, hello, your master, now have Rachmanas.
Yeah, and what's the connection with the master, being a master of Rachmanas? A master has to have Rachmanas on his subjects. Now it says Hashem, Hashem, Keil, Rachem. What's the Keil? Keil u'midas chayzek, that's strength. Kibiyot chazaka humeichem, but it's not a strength in a bad way, it's in a good way. The Eibishter prepares sustenance, food, with a strong arm. Humeichem mazon chalabriyas. Kedechsiv, of all his creations. Kedechsiv, it says in Tehillim, Hakfirim are the young lions, the cubs. Shoyagim l'torah v'levakesh me'eil ochlam. They asked the Eibishter, the Eibishter that's called Keil, they asked their food. So Keil is a connection with food, that we're begging the Eibishter, even though that we sinned, we're asking the Eibishter, please sustain us. So Keil means sustenance. Now it says Hashem, Hashem, Keil, Rachum. It mentions Rachum again. We just said Hashem is Rachum. So it says it go like this. Rachum gamu midas Rachum. It's also Rachmanas. It's also mercy. But v'loiki midas Hashem. It's not the same Rachmanas, the same mercy as the Hashem. Ki oracham chalukim, because it says in the Gemarrah there's different type of Rachmanas before you do tshuva and after the tshuva. The Rachmanas is different. Okay. Then it says Hashem, Hashem, Keil, Rachum. So Hashem is Rachmanas, Keil is sustenance, Rachum is Rachmanas after tshuva. Chanun is also a type of mercy. Gam hu minyan kimidas is also a different type of Rachmanas. Kimidas Rachamim, it's also midas Rachamim. Chanun is a forgiveness, or like Chanina is for so it's also a type of mercy. So this Haggah explains that Chanun is different. When things are not going bad, we ask the Eibishter, please have Rachmanas, that things should not go bad. Before the bad, the tzara comes, the calamity comes, we ask the Eibishter, please have Rachmanas, that this tzara should not come. What does Chanun mean? That after I have this tzara, I did something wrong, I was punished, I'm having something bad is happening. We ask the Eibishter, please have Rachmanas on us, please have mercy at a time when it's difficult for us. That you should redeem the one that's screaming out to you. It's a pasuk in Ishaya that the Navi says that the Eibishter will have Rachmanas if you scream out to him. So what's this midah? We're asking the Eibishter to forgive us. This he writes very interesting. Sometimes we know sometimes a strong person is not someone that can punch someone or can be strict. A strong person shows his strength sometimes by being merciful to someone. I have the power to punish you and I'm being merciful to you. That's a bigger power than just punishing. So, someone that has the koyach has the power to punish. You should have Rachmanas, the one that screams out to him. Even though the screamer, the one that's screaming out in pain, does not deserve it. It says in Pasuk and Shmois, when someone lends out money to someone else and then he asks him for a mashkan, he asks him for collateral in return, I'm going to hold on to your garment, to your night garment, while you owe me money. As soon as you return the money, I'll give it back to you. But if it's a garment that this poor person needs at night, the Pasuk says you have to return it to him at night. Because if you don't, he will scream out to me. And what does the Pasuk say? If the poor person will scream out to me, the Eibush is going to listen. Why? Because I'm merciful. Here we're talking about a poor person. Poor person borrowed money. It's only right that he gives the wealthy person, the lender, something to hold on to, a mashkan. So the lender holds on to it rightfully. And still, even though he rightfully holds on, the Eibush says, return it to him at night. Even though that the mashkan came to your hand correctly, rightfully so, because you lent that money, on this mashkan as a collateral. And give it back to him. Why? He will scream out to me. Hamidoi kach, this is how this midah works. She'esh matzakosa, I will listen to his cry. Why? Because I am a merciful God. Ve'eni yochel lias be'aniv, I cannot look at his poorness. So, the question really is, if the Eibishter can't see that the ani is crying, then he has to give every old yidden panasa and wealth. Amen. V'gam yesh b'rosh Hashana matnas chinam. It also reminds me. When I was in Russia, there was a used to go Mitzvah Friday in a Stav. So Mitzvah is not like here, you go from store to store. The shliach tells you there's these yidden work in a certain store or a certain office. Go there, put on tefillin. So my chavrusa and my friend and I, and we basically were given 4 or 5 names, and we used to go to one guy's office, wealthy guy in the city, and he used to, as soon as we came, he would call up his friends. The rabbis are here. So 4 or 5 guys come to the office, put on tefillin, spoke a few words, and then spread on a table. They put out stuff we couldn't touch. Obviously, we only were able to drink the mashke and the chai, the tea they prepared. So we drank mashke and chased it with tea. Obviously, by the time Shabbos came around, we were in a different world. But one of the times we said l'chaim, and one of the Russian guys says l'chaim is a grip. Grip is flu in Russian. Grip is flu. Influenza, flu. Yeah. So we asked him, what do you mean l'chaim? L'chaim should the flu should live. So he says, remembers when he was a little kid, the Yidden used to call grip was a Rosh Tevis. Gesund, Rachem, und 2 Parnusim. So we say l'chaim, we should have gesund, Rachmanis, and 2 times Parnusim. So yeah, they should said it all as Parnusim. L'chaim is a grip. Sagt es Hagarbeit in the wide lines. Gamish Lashon Chanan Matnas Chinam. Chanan also means a free gift. A free gift that you give someone that usually doesn't deserve it. Kadina lebrachas v'chanoisesh as achayin, that I'm giving a gift. Afal b'she'en hagen, even though he's not deserving, I'm going to give him a gift. So Chanan means I'm going to give it to you even though you don't deserve it. So when we ask Hashem Keil Rachum v'Chanan, we ask Hashem even though we don't deserve it, because we are punished. We did something wrong. We are punished, but still. Be merciful to us. Yach.א-Yach.ב. So the content is Yach.א-Yach.b. The Eibishter lengthens his anger. La tzadikim and Hashem, he lengthens his anger to tzadikim and Hashem. And mishtei middos for tzadikim and Hashem, and the Gemarrah explains somewhere else that it means for both. And Moshe Rabbeinu complained, how come it's for Hashem also? Basically, this is a very good middah. The Eibishter is lengthening his nose, technically, but that's his anger, meaning his anger. That the Eibishter is not punishing right away. You sinned, but the Eibishter is not punishing right away. We're reminding the Eibishter, you promise that you're going to not punish us right away. Give us a chance. Give us a chance in the interim time to do tshuva. The Shalmi teaches Yach.א-Yach.b, Marchin Ragoz. He pushes away something that's upsetting us. He's pushing away what's called legionnaires, the army. There's one pasuk in here that speaks that Eibishter opens up his armory. Oitzer is the armory, and it takes out all his weaponry. And it says in Shiur that the army is coming from a far land to destroy the Eden. And we ask the Eibishter, don't do that. We sinned. Please don't send armies onto us. That's a different shot of Yach.א-Yach.b. Then the pasuk finishes with Chesed ve'emes. The Eibishter has a lot of chesed, a lot of kindness, and a lot of emes. It's 2 opposite things. The Gemarrah here already asked. It's 2 separate things. And Shtaim, it's 2 middos again. Kedashin and Ksiv Chesed, Ksiv ve'emes. Is the Eibishter doing chesed, that he looks away on our sins? Or is the Eibishter emes? He's truthful, and if we sin, we deserve punishment. So what do we do? Okay, it's at Batchila be'emes. In the beginning, the Eibishter created the world with emes. As soon as the Eibishter saw that the world cannot survive with the middos or emes, the Eibishter said, "I'm gonna run the world with kindness." So we're reminding the Eibishter to remember the dialogue you had. You wanted to start the world with emes. Please turn it to chesed. That's what we say with chesed ve'emes. Noitze chesed. Lo alofim, that he creates chesed is achas. It doesn't say exactly what it is, but it's one. Noise ovim fesha v'chator. He carries ovoin sin, fesha different type of sin, chator different type of sin. Hem sholish is 3 different types of sin. And the Gemarrah explains different elsewhere what it means. V'naker, that he cleans, that he cleanses, is lashav, and anyone that makes shuva, he cleanses kach pe'er sharav zal. Atkan Lashon Hagah, that this is when we say by davening every day, twice a day at least. If there's tachanon, this is
Three types of verse. One is like Meshegi, one is amazed, but
correct.
like I'm trying.
Chet Oven Pesha, yeah.
Yeah, Oven is like I'm doing my very. I'm saying far from your time. Pesha is like
A purpose, yeah. Shkoyach, yeah, it's true. So that's the Gemarrah. Okay, so that's the Hagah. Now we're going to go back in our Gemarrah. Yeah. A Pesha is like a, yeah. Okay, now go back to Gemarrah. Daf Yud Ches, Amid Aleph, as it said, Yud Ches is Chai-Ir, Lag-Ba'omer. We are holding, the Gemarrah here discussed this idea that Rabbi Yochanan said that if you make tshuva, it rips apart the gzar din, the decree of a person. And the Gemarrah asks many different places we see that doesn't happen, and the answer, one answer was a yachid and a tzibur community. If a community davens, the Eibush takes away the sin. They takes away the gzar din. If a private person davens, he has to daven before he makes tshuva. Before he makes tshuva, he can take away the decree. After the decree was decreed, tshuva is not going to help for a private person. But a rabim, even if the Eibush should sign the decree, if we daven together in unison, in unity, we can take it away. Now, yeah, and then we can see they davened and they takashod. The Gemarrah brings Rabbi Yitzchak, which we learned already, that Rabbi Yitzchak disagrees with that, and it says no, it doesn't make a difference. If a person screams out truthfully, even if it was sealed, it will take it away. The Gemarrah goes back to that idea. How do we know that for the Rabbim, for a community, the Eibusher will take away a gzar din, a signed and sealed decree? How do we know it? The Gemarrah says it doesn't make sense. One pasuk says that the Navi tells the Yidden as a community, you can wash your garments, which means you can wash away the sins. And in another pasuk it says the Eibush tells the Navi, tell the Yidden, it doesn't matter how much you wash, how many detergents you use, but Nesser and V'tibelech different type of detergent, different type of soap. The oven, the sin is so deep, the stain is so deep, so you can't clean it. So the Gemarrah would say that even a community, if it was signed and sealed, because once your decree is signed and sealed, the stain is like sealed in, you can't clean it out. So even a community cannot go back, cannot do tshuva. So the Gemarrah answers, and this is what we were holding last week, that if the Eibishter tells the Yidden that I'm punishing you, and I'm decreeing that I'm going to be punishing you, the Yidden as a community can daven and take away the decree. But if the Eibishter swears, Chai Oni, makes a shvur, that I am going to punish you, that even with tshuva, a community cannot. That's what we're holding.
For the bad could change, but the good and not be changed.
The what?
Nevuah.
For the good.
For the good is not changed, but
For the bad
negative one
could be changed. But that's a nevuah, it's not a shvur. That's a prophecy, it's not a shvur. If the Eibishter comes to the Navi and tells the Navi, tell the Yidden, I'm swearing that the Gemarrah is going to bring an example, then he cannot take it away. Okay, we see the text al Nisan mipnei Pesach. So if you scoot over to the Gemarrah, kan b'gzad.
What's your example of like Hashem swearing?
That's the Gemarrah is going to bring right now. Kan b'gzad din she'enim mishvah. Keder Rav Shmuel. So do you see the text al Nisan mipnei Pesach? You go over to the Gemarrah, one line down. Keder Rav Shmuel ba'ami. The Amar Rav Shmuel ba'ami, v'amar la'amar Rav Shmuel ba'nachmeini, Amar Rabbi Yochanan. So it's one of the names of these people. Yeah, you have it? Minayin l'gzadin sheyesh imo shavua. How do we know that a decree that has a shavua, that Eibush swore, made an oath, she'einu nika, that cannot be taken away, she'nemar, Shmuel Al Bey starts with the story we read on Rosh Hashana, how Chana did not have kids, and Penina had kids, and Chana came and davened, and she had a kid, Shmuel. Yeah, and we read it after on Rosh Hashana. We stop right before the bad story happens. What's the bad story? It tells us the story of Eli and his kids. Eli was a tzaddik. Eli was a tzaddik, but his kid Chafni and Pinchas were not so. They would take away food from the Kalbanas right away. They harassed the Yidden that came up. It says even in pasuk, it says the Gemarrah says it's not so clear, but it says in pasuk that they would they would commit adultery with women that came to give kabbanis. And anyways, Shmuel Hanavi was brought to the Beis Hamikdash. He became a Navi, and one night, Shmuel Hanavi, as a little kid, it was still a kid, he hears someone calling him. So he goes to Eli and says, "Yes, you called me?" He says, "No, I didn't call you." Second night, the same thing. He hears someone calling him. Comes to Eli, "Here I am." So I didn't call you. So then Eli realized that's the Eibishter calling him. So he told Shmuel, next night, if you hear a call, this is what you should say. Tell the Eibishter, Hinani, Hashem, I forgot what the pasuk says exactly. I'm kishameya on you. I'm listening to your words. Third night came, Shmuel hears a voice calling him, and he answers, "I'm here." And the Eibishter basically tells Shmuel that I'm going to punish the house of Eli. I'm going to wipe them out. No one is going to live long. They're all going to die youngsters. And the Eibishter adds it with a shavua. V'lochein ishbaiti lebeis Eli. I swore to the house of Eli, im yischape oven beis Eli bezev mincha. Their sin that they did, can it be erased with a kalban or with a mincha with another kalban? Basically, Eibishter is saying it's not possible. This sin cannot be erased. You can't do tshuva. It's done. Beis Eli is cursed. They're going to die young.
It's the same Beis Eli as Rus?
No. There's maybe what's it called? So Eli with an eye here. So Eli, basically, next morning Eli wakes up and Shmuel wakes up, and Eli asks Shmuel, "So what did Hashem say?" So Shmuel didn't want to say. So Eli made him swear. And Eli understood because Eibishter told Eli already that I'm punishing you, and I'm punishing your kids. And Eli tried to rectify, tried to call out his kids, and the pasuk says he was old, he couldn't do it anymore. And then basically, and Eli tells Shmuel, if you don't tell him what Hashem told you, whatever Hashem told you should come on your head double so. So obviously Shmuel said, "Okay, I'm gonna tell you what it is." And Eli turned and said, "Yeah." So Eli told, he gave him an offer he can't refuse. So Eli tells Shmuel the Eibishter is toiv, and the Eibishter can do whatever he wishes, and basically accepted upon himself the punishment. And okay, so what does it say there? I swore, I made an oath that the sins of Beis Eli cannot be forgiven by alei zevach, bezevach b'mincha, with a korban. Okay, so here we see that this cannot attack it.
Maybe the Chayav is not a truth because it's not like they did the tshuva and they still get punished. It doesn't say there. It said accept it the way it is.
No, but it says bezevach b'mincha. Come with a zevach, which are called mechatos, or come with what's it called? We're not going to accept it.
I know, but it's the same as the Novi told the kings, or whoever was that he will not leave.
Chizkiah. Yeah. But it wasn't a shvur.
I know, but there is no proof from here that this is undoable because it's not like they did the tshuva.
Right, but it's telling you even if you try to do tshuva, it's not possible. Over there,
Could be, but there is no really proof from that.
that it did tshuva.
The proof is that if there was a tshuva in the still punishment, then there was a
No, but I understand what you're saying. But here, basically, the proof from here is it's telling you that the sin is so big. I'm making a shvua that nothing will take it away. You can make tshuva. Don't worry.
You made the tshuva.
It's not going to help. Don't even try. I mean,
For the punishment.
yes,
Maybe
but
you can say it even without bringing the story. If this is what you said, you didn't have to bring the whole Shach Levetaya. That he told them, that he told them back. That,
no, I just said a story, the background of the story. The Gemarrah doesn't bring this. I just. No, it's not here. I just brought the background, what happened, and then the pasuk says, what's it called? That I just saw what exactly happened there. So, but you're right. So what's taka? So that's it. There's no way out. Amar Rava. So Rava said, bezevach u'bemincha in a miskapa. The Eibishter gave a way out. He says bezevach u'bemincha, basically doing tshuva by bringing a korban. In a miskapa. Aval miskapa b'toida. But if you learn toida, you can get away with it.
Also, we speak in the Lion Tanya. The korban is like the matono. It's not tshuva is internal. It's not.
But the korban you bring after you do tshuva
So maybe the korban part of it is not.
But this is what the Gemarrah says. I hear what you're saying.
There is a way out, actually.
So it says we learn Torah. So it says and then Abaya adds more. Bezevach u'mincha. Sorry, Abaya bezevach mincha ein miskapa. Miskapa Torah ugmilas chasadim. If you do Torah and gmilas chasadim, you can get away. Says the Gemarrah, interesting. So, Rabba ve'Abaya. So, Abaya had a friend, Rava. Yeah, Rava and Abaya. This is not Rava. Rabba and Abaya, middos Eli kosa, they come from the household of Eli. Rabba, the osak b'Torah, chai aboinshtin. Rabba, that learned Torah, lived 40 years. He died young, but he didn't die that young. He didn't die in 18 years old, like we see a story soon. Abai the osak b'Torah ubig minas chasadim, like he said, chai shitin shini lived 60 years. And 60 was already old age then. Okay. So the so there's a Rashi and Tosfos here that basically talk about if this is Rabba or Rava, and basically it's not Rava, it's Rabba Bar Nachmani or Rabba B'Chana. No, sorry, it's Rabba Bar. Oh, Rashi says that there was a gilsa that's Abai v'Rava, but it says not possible because Rava wasn't a kohen. Abai was a kohen, and Rava wasn't a kohen, so it can't be an offspring of Eli. So the one answer is maybe his mother was from a house of Eli. Second answer, no, it's not. Again, Tosfos says the same thing. Okay, Tana Rabbanon. So how young would they really die? Mishpacha Achas Yisrael. There was one family. Everyone there died 18 years old. This is obviously by the end of the Churban, Mamish before the Churban middos, or right after. And they came and told the Rebbe Zakai that they're dying young. What can we do? So they told them, maybe check Shema Mishpachas Eli. Maybe you are the offsprings of Eli. That your entire or most of your household will die. Anoshim means young people. Not, there won't be, this is Canaan, there won't be elders. So what should you do? Lechu v'isku b'Torah v'chiu. Go learn Torah and you will live. Holach v'isku b'Torah v'choyu, and that I can live longer. With the Aleph, but yeah. They called them, they named themselves the name Rabbi Yochanan on the name, the fact that he saved them. Okay. Amar Rav Shmuel, ba ina mishmei Rav. Rav Shmuel, ba ina said the name of Rav, b'nai zakdin shel tzibur shel nechtam. How do we know that if a community made an aveda, that the Eibishter will not sign a decree? Really? Ein nechtam? We just had a pasuk before v'chsiv nichtam avoynich, that the aveda is so big that it stained deeply, which means it was that the Eibishter did sign a decree. What is it saying? That even though the Eibishter does decree and sign a decree, you could rip it apart. They even said, who is like the Eibishter, that whenever we call out for him, he turns to us. So we have a chance as a community, whenever we call out as a community, the Eibishter turns to us. What's it called? The fast that we say in the Haftarah, call, seek Hashem, behemotzeh, when you will find him. So not always will you find him. Sometimes you'll find him, sometimes not. Call out to him, when he's close. It's not always close. So call out to Eibishter and you'll find him sometimes, or call out to him and he'll respond sometimes. It's b'yachid. I know, but this is the Navi telling each person as an individual. But Hasam b'yachid. Hacha b'chol kolein u'elav. When we all call out to him, that's a tzibur. The Navi tells the Yidden that each individually find out Eibishter whenever he can. That's private time. When does that happen? When is the Eibishter around closely, even for the Yachid? B'yachid emas. Including Rosh Hashana and Yom Kippur, that these 10 days are the Eibishter's close. Like where? So where do we have the 10 days? What's the 10 days? So there was a Maisa with David HaMelech. David HaMelech, as soon as Shmuel passed away, David HaMelech was roaming the streets still. He was still, Shaul was still upset at him. And he was not, basically he guarded someone's sheep, he guarded someone's cattle from being destroyed. This person's name was Novel. His Novel was not too nice. Shmuel passed away, and David Melech sent a few messengers to Novel and said, we watched your sheep, we made sure nothing happened, so now give us something in return, some payments, some food. And Novel basically sent him flying. And David Melech got upset. This is a Merido Malchus, this is standing up against the king. Chayiv Misa, we're going to go kill him. gathered his army, 400 men, went up to Novel, and on the way, Novel's wife Abigail finds out about it. So she right away sends a nice package of food to David Melech, and she comes to him and basically it cries out to him and says, "Don't listen to Novel. Novel is like his name is an avela." This is what the wife tells. The vela is a carcass, a dead animal. Yeah, so he's a Novel, he's an avela. Kishmai, that's what the pasuk says. Kishmai Kanu is like his name. He's a shtickle black.
She would know she was living.
Yeah, she knew very well. And she said, don't, here's the food, everything fine. And David Melech says, it's very smart of you to do that, and we're going to turn around. And because if not, we would have what's it called? Actually, David Melech on the way to Novel, he dams to the Eibishter and tells the Eibishter that, huh? Amon what? The what? Yeah. So what happened? So actually, it has to do with the lev. So what happened is David Melech goes and he's walking to Novel and he's asking the Eibishter, don't leave anyone behind. Basically, wipe out the entire household. And this is a very interesting lashon. Don't leave behind someone, mashtin bakir, someone that can urinate on the wall. Urinate on the wall. That's what the pasuk says. Don't leave even a person. Don't leave any person that can urinate on a wall. Where would people urinate? They stood by a wall and urinated. So don't leave anyone, any male descendants behind. Okay, that's what's interesting. Interesting clue. Anyways, Novel. The wife turned around. Abigail turned around, came back home. Novel is having a party. He's very wealthy, having a party. He got very drunk at that party. So his wife didn't tell him anything. The next morning, his wife tells him, by the way, I went to David and I appeased him, I gave him food, and he couldn't handle it. And it says that he already had a heart attack, because it says his heart became like a stone. 10 days later, he died. He couldn't handle the fact that David was appeased to this. He didn't. 10 days later, Novel died. Why did he survive for 10 days? So the Gemarrah says like this. Huh? Vayika says it was 10 days later. Yeah. After she died, after Novel died, David Melech called in and says, do you want to marry me? Vayika says 10 days later, Vayika Hashem is Novel. Things were different back then. Matchmaking business was different. Vayika says it was 10 days. Vayika Hashem is Novel. The Eibishter punished, Novel. So why 10 days? David sent in the beginning 10 messengers, and Novel sent them away, but he gave them a drink. He didn't give them food, but he gave them a drink. And for each drink that he gave each servant of David, he got another day. These 10 days was.
That's why you say because of the 10 people you got 10 days.
10 days, exactly. 10 days, he gave them the drink, so the Eibishter gave him 10 days. So the Eibishter basically telling us, just like Novel has 10 days to make tshuva. Why did I give him 10 days? Because I want him to make tshuva. I'm giving him a chance. You were hit with a heart attack, you have 10 days until you get a cardiac arrest. So then, make tshuva. And the Eibishter tells us also, I'm giving you also 10 days. Hashanah and Kippur, I'm giving you 10 days just like I gave Novel. It's finished with Gemarrah. The Gemarrah said, the last mission that we learned on Daf Zayin Amud Aleph, he brought down 4 different times that the world is judged. Pesach on Tvur, on the grain, Shavuos on the fruit of the tree, Ashana. It says Ashana, all the inhabitants of the world go in front of the Eibishter, Kivnei Modoin. What is Kivnei Modoin? So says the Gemarrah, Kivnei Modoin. Everyone in front of a Kivnei, everyone walks by the Eibishter like Kivnei Modoin. My Kivnei Modoin. What is Kivnei, the sons of Modoin? Hochat Hagimu here in Bavel, they translated Modoin from the word Kivnei Imuna, like sheep. Imu is a sheep. So sheep also they walk in front of when they used to count them and they used to. So they one. So the Eibishter also all even walk in a single line in front of the Eibishter on Rosh Hashana, like the sheep walk in a single line. Ashlakish Alma Kemailas Beis Moed, like the steps or the path going up to Moed. So I don't know if this is middos or not, but it's like a mountain somewhere. Some people call it Chodain. And what is it? There's a very narrow path that people, in order to go there, they have to pass by one. So the same thing also, the Yidden, the same idea basically. The Yidden in front of the Eibishter on Hashanah, the Yidden go in front of the Eibishter one by one. The same thing. David, Malain comes from the word middos, that they have a rulership upon them, like the soldiers of David that accepted David as the leader. And it's also that they walked. You could see that they walked in front of David the Melech 1-1. And the same thing also, the Yidden walk in front of the Eibishter 1-1.
I missed something. What's this? They actually walk one by one in front of David and Melech?
That's what it says.
What occasion was this?
When they used to go out to war, so they used to count how many soldiers went out. They went in a single line. Shiur, whatever count they did, they used to count them. So Amar Rabba Bachana, Amar Rabbi Yochanan, V'kulan, even though all the inhabitants of the world walk in front of the Eibishter in a single file line, still the Eibishter Kulan is come b'skir achas. The Eibishter can look at them with one look, individually with one look, but the Eibishter looks at everyone. Amar Rav Nachman Yitzchak Hafanana Machtenim. We all walk behind.
We all went one place.
So we also learned in the Mishnah. It's in the Mishnah continues. yach.א-yח.ב. What does that mean? If you teach this pasuk straight out, the one that creates their hearts together. So basically, and understands all the deeds. Basically, the Eibishter creates many human beings, but their hearts are one. If you would say, like I just said, the Barnu Lekol Almod, he created the entire world, and he unifies their hearts. They're all one people. Everyone is in unity. That's not possible. We see clearly, everyone fights with each other. We all are different. This is what the pasuk says: the one that creates everything. We could look at all their hearts in one time. Umevin, and the Eibishter, the Yoitza, the Creator, Mevin a Klamasayim, understands all their deeds, and that's what it is. Kibnei Modern Dokar Gemara. Okay, we finished this Gemara. Now we're going to go into the next Gemara. So the beginning is Agadata, and later on we're going to go into Kiddush HaChodesh. Later on, the Chaf or so. So, but the first two pages are Geschmack. So here we have a halacha. Back in the days when Kiddush HaChodesh was done with Eidim, with witnesses, so what happened was every month has 29 days. Every month is exactly 29 days, and yeah, the Rambam says the Levana hides every month, and it's about 2 days, 1 or 2 days. The moon is not seen, and as soon as the way the moon is positioned with the sun, as soon as you see the first glimmer again, that is Rosh Chodesh. So basically, what happens is like this. Whenever you see the little moon, so that night is day 1, is Aleph. So Chodesh, next morning is Chodesh. Then you count 29 days, because that's the minimum that the month has to have. The 29th night, which is the 30th night, you wait. Will witness come and say that the moon came out, or will witness come the next morning, the whole day? They're waiting in Bezdin to see if someone is going to show up at the door and say, we saw the moon last night. Then if we saw the moon last night, then that day is a Chodesh, and the next day is already base. That's the way the 30th day of the previous count will be the Chodesh. And what happens if there's no witness, then the 30th day becomes part of the previous month, and it's called a Chodesh Me'ubal, a long month. And the 31st day automatically becomes a Chodesh, even if the moon was not seen. Okay, so that's what it says. That's what it says here. Now, once we have a witness statement when we saw the moon, now a couple times a year, depends what day was Rosh Chodesh or not. Says the Mishnah, 6 months of the year, the Bezdin send out messengers to tell the communities, when did we make Rosh Chodesh? Al Nisan, what? To notify them. Al Nisan mibnei Pesach. They send out the Chodesh Nisan. So Chodesh Nisan, they mekadosh the moon. They say that they bless the moon, and they send out messages. Pashut, you have to know when it's Pesach, because Pesach, if you eat matzah, if you eat chametz on Pesach, it's kolos. So to tell them when it's Pesach. Al Av mipnei atainis. For Chodesh Av, because Tisha B'Av, you have to fast. Al Elul mipnei Rosh Hashana. Elul, they send out because Rosh Hashana itself is Aleph Tishrei. You can't send out messengers on Aleph Tishrei. They will only reach the communities 3 days, 4 days, 5 days later. They're going to miss Rosh Hashana. So what do they do? Elul, that they find out when is Elul, Rosh Chodesh Elul, then they count 29 days, and the communities that are outside of Eretz Yisrael on the 30th day of Alel Elul, which by us is Aleph Tishrei, we make Rosh Hashana. Here's a machlokes Rashi and Tosfos. Rashi says that back in the day, the communities outside would count 29 days from Aleph Elul. The 30th day would be Aleph Tishrei, would make Rosh Hashana, and there was no second day. Tosfos says no, they would make a second day like today we have. It's not that it's Rosh Chodesh 2 days. Rosh Hashana is Aleph and Beis, not Chavtes. So Tosfos says it's 2 days. But in any case, yeah. So now the Gemarrah is now. Yeah. So now there was a machlokes whether to do 1 day in Yerushalayim and the whole world does 2 days, or in Yerushalayim to do 2 days, and that's what they say that it's Gemarrah. It's one thing. But in any case, Beis Hamikdash will still do 1 day. Correct. So Elul is sent out because of Rosh Hashanah. At Tishrei, they saw the witness came on Rosh Hashanah and said we saw the moon on that night, because even though they maybe started praying and doing everything that night, but there's still a difference when it's Yom Kippur and when it's Sukkot. So Tishrei they send out to tell us when it's Sukkot, when it's Shmini Atzeres, when it's Shmini Atzeres, when it's Yom Kippur. Kislev they send out b'nei Chanukah. Adar they send out b'nei Purim. They also go out because Pesach Sheni. That's what Tosfos is saying. That's right. You don't have to send a message to Sivan because it doesn't make a difference. Shavuos is always the 50th day of the Omer, so you know already when Pesach is. It depends on the Omer. It says there that sometimes Shavuos could be the 5th day of Sivan, the 6th or 7th day. Because Omer, yeah. I don't know if we're going to make it, but the next page is there's a statement of Rab Shimon. Stam Rab Shimon is Rab Shimon B'Yechoy. So we're not going to make it then, I think. Okay, so this is the Gemarrah here. That they send out 6 times. The Gemarrah Kasha. We said that we send out on Av to tell us when it's Tisha B'Av. If it is so important for us to know the day that we are going to fast, how come you don't send Teves for Asada B'Teves and Tammuz for Shivasa B'Tammuz? Tammuz B'Teves send messages also Tammuz and Teves. Yeah. So yeah. The Omer Rav Chana Bar Bizna said Omer Rav Shimon B'Chas the Geula. So we have to know the Geula.
There is a stronger point.
So the Gemarrah is going to explain why Tisha B'Av Taki. Hopefully we'll get to it today. What does Rav Chana Bar Bizna say? What is it that says in Pasuk? Because Zechariah was a Navi, I believe, between the two Beis Hamikdash. This is what the Eibusha said. The Tzoim of the fourth month, which is Tammuz, Tzei B'Chamishi, Tisha B'Av, Tzei B'Shvi, Tzom Gedalia, V'Tzoim Asiri, and that is Asar B'Teves, Yir L'Beis Yehud L'Sason and Simcha, is standing in the galus between the two Beis Hamikdash, and it tells us that when the Beis Hamikdash will be returned, it will be Sason and Simcha. So the Gemarrah says, call it Tzoim. He calls it a Tzoim, is a fast day. They call it Sason Simcha, that it's going to be a happy day. So the Gemarrah explains there, Rab Shimon B'Chana, Bizna explains, and Rab Shimon Chasida, Bizman Sheyesh Shalom, and the Beis Hamikdash is standing. Basically, the second Beis Hamikdash, Yul Sason Simcha. Those days will be turned into a Sason Simcha. You're not going to fast. Rashi says you weren't allowed to fast. Do a spadim. So those days, Shivasa B'Tammuz, Asar B'Teves, Shivasa B'Tammuz, Gimel, Tzom Gedalia, and Tisha B'Av would be as a Sason Simcha. Ein Shalom, but if there's no peace, the Beis Hamikdash is not standing, Tzoim, then it's going to be a fast day. So now, if it is so important to know when Tisha B'Av is, why is it not important to know when Shivasa B'Tammuz is, when Asar B'Teves is? Rav Papa answered, Hachikama. This is why you have to read the Mishnah. This is the statement of Chana. Bizman sheyesh shalom. In the time when there is peace, when there is basically the Beis Hamikdash is standing and the Yidden are not being harassed, Yul Assassins by the governments, Yul Assassins Simcha. It will be, those won't be fast days. Yesh Gzeras HaMalchus, but if the time, even if the Beis Hamikdash is standing, but the governments are harassing the Yidden, then it's going to be at Tzom. What if there is no Beis Hamikdash and but there's also no harassment for the Yidden? Ein Gzeras HaMalchus ve'en Shalom, Rotzu Misana, Rotzu Ein Misana. Basically, it was like this. The Beis Hamikdash was destroyed. So in the days between the first Beis Hamikdash and the second Beis Hamikdash, Yidden fasted Asar B'Tevis. Yidden fasted Shiv'asa B'Tammuz or Tes Tammuz, if we will not make it today. And Yidden fasted Asar B'Tevis and Shiv'asa B'Tammuz. Yidden fasted Tisha B'Av. Gedalia ben Achikam was killed the third day of Tishrei after the destruction of the Beis Hamikdash. So Yidden fasted during the 70 years between the two Beis Hamikdash. Yidden fasted these 4 days. Zechariah came and said in a nevuah that when the Beis Hamikdash is going to be rebuilt, those 4 days will be cancelled. But he said also that if Chas v'Shalom, that second Beis Hamikdash will be destroyed, we'll go back, and the Yidden will be harassed, we'll go back to what's it called. So because it wasn't a given that you fast those 4 days, therefore the Mishnah didn't speak about it. Because like this, the Tana, the Amoida, the Gemarrah lived in a time when the fast days were accepted. We're all fasting. So they asked the question, the Tana says Tisha B'Av, that doesn't bring the other fast days. Why not? We all fast these fast days. So the Gemarrah to explain that Tana lives in a time when Lav Dafke were you fasting. If the Beis Hamikdash was not standing and the governments were not harassing the Yidden, the Gemarrah says, Lotzu Mis'an and Lotzu Mis'an. If you want to do, the community as a whole can decide, let's fast a day or not fast a day. But because it wasn't a statement that we have to fast those days, that's why the Mishnah didn't mention it. We'll repeat this next week. So the Gemarrah says like this. The Gemarrah says, actually later on we'll see, the Gemarrah says that the number one Tisha B'Av was mentioned not because of the timing, because Tisha B'Av had Sodas, first Beis Hamikdash, second Beis Hamikdash. That's number one. But regarding the Tainis, actually the Litva, I believe, brings down, I feel it's the Litva, that back in those days, all these Taniyos, some Gedalia, Shivasa B'Tammuz, and Sal B'Tevis, was a full day, was 24 hours. Not only was that, but we couldn't wear leather shoes. Everything that happened in Kippur applied those days also. Later on, after the destruction of the second Beis Hamikdash, when they remade these fasts, they made them only from the morning till the night. They made them.
That's the case. Why the Mishnah said about the Yom Tov also the Meila also like
Yom Kippur is a different thing. That's
it's a sound similar to Yom Kippur.
Guys, take it down.
correct.
Also because Sasando also
So Yom Kippur was an inyan of inu nefesh for tshuva. It's different. Tisha B'Av is not tshuva. Tisha B'Av is about tzadas.
Yeah, like
Yeah, but.